Hey everyone, this is Greg with Spotted Tongue Woodworking. Here's my DIY faux beam folding fireplace mantle. This is the fireplace in our basement, and we will be building new mantle pieces for each side of the fireplace. Fun fact is that my great-grandfather actually made this clock out of a kit, but that has nothing to do with what we're doing today. I believe this mantle is original to the house. As I pull it off, you can see that the dowels are actually inset into the brickwork behind there. Why they only did one on one side is beyond me, but I like seeing the how they attached it to the wall. And I thought I was going to do something similar to that, but as we progress, you can see that I don't, and why that might have been not a great idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement on each side of this mantle just to make sure that the stove is roughly centered in place, so I can make two pieces of the same size, which will simplify my measurements and make my life a whole lot easier. We'll be using these pieces of poplar that I have. As you can see, they have beautiful circular saw marks on them. One of the challenges with this project is finding wood that has those marks. More and more mills are using large band saws instead of circular saws, which give a lot of different characteristics. What we'll start doing is break down pieces into rough lengths. That'll help straighten and flatten the boards just by cutting them. The quickest way to flatten a board is to cut it. I heard that numerous places. So we'll just cut these rough lengths, try to get all the splits and checks on each end, and we'll go from there. Now that everything is cut to rough lengths, I'm going to run edge over my joiner, get a straight edge so that I can rip each piece down to width on my table saw. As I go for the joiner, what I try to do is I go crown side up. I look for each edge of the boards, and whatever side bows in, I want to run that edge on that edge down. It makes it easier for me to flatten it that way. Now that I made a straight edge on the joiner, I can run that straight edge along the fence of my table saw and cut off the other rough edge so I have two parallel lines. Like I said earlier, the quickest way to flatten a board is to cut it. So now that everything is cut to my rough lengths and rough widths, now I will run it through my planer again, crown side up. So I'm working on getting one flat reference face, which I will be using to cut the mitered edges in order to make this hollow beam. This is the DeWalt 735 planer. It is a fantastic planer for a small shop like mine. It has a built-in dust blower in it. I have hooked up to a dust bag, so all the chips are blown directly into the bag, which really helps clean up the mess and the dust in the shop. It's a little loud, so that is the one knock that I have against it, but it is done a fantastic job for everything I've thrown at it so far. And now that I have a flat reference face that I can run along the bottom of the table saw, I have my blade set to 45 degrees and I'm running the long edge miters along each edge of these pieces to create that beam. One of the challenges that will come up with assembly is that even though I have a flat reference face, the top edge of it will not match up perfectly. And here I use my miter saw to cut the 45 degree on the ends. And I'll be making small end cap pieces to go on there as well. And again, the flat reference face is fantastic, but the top reference face will not perfectly match up because that top face is still rough. Now that my pieces are cut to length and width, I will be dry fitting them right here using some blue tape to help with alignment. Basically, with the 45 degree miters like that, I can just line them up and fold the joints over. This is just the dry fit, just to make sure everything matches up. And I was pretty happy with how it came out. This was supposed to originally be a nap time project, but having two kids who don't necessarily nap all the way during nap time anymore means that this project carried into the next day. So here we are. Because this will be a rustic mantle, I was not afraid to put a couple nail holes in there just to help tie everything together and help speed up my gluing process. So again, using blue painter's tape to align my joints, line them up, do the miters, hit a few brad nails in there, and everything came together pretty nice. Rinse and repeat for the matching box. Again, I'm making 2 mantle pieces, so a couple brad nails, glue the joints, fold them over, nail them in place, and everything will be good to go. Now that my mantle pieces are made up, I'm going to use my laser to set my level mark, make a couple points where I'll be drilling holes to add my blocking, and cut out those old dowels. I'll be just using Tapcons to do a couple 2x4 pieces into the brick wall. I don't really know what was behind this wall. I do know that I went through at least 4 different masonry bits trying to get these Tapcons to get in and drive home. These bits were destroyed by whatever was partway in through the grout and the stone. I got it in there, but it took a lot of bits. I'm glad to not go with my original plan of drilling a 1-inch thick hole for a dowels to match that on both sides. These little masonry drill bits with my little M12 hammer drill did the trick, but the bits were ruined, and I will have to get some more if I ever want to do something like this again. All right, so here I am making up my little blocking pieces, making sure my holes are level across the board, top to bottom, side to side, so that way I can try to center it. And we're going to try putting the mantle on, 1 2x4. Here we go. We're going to see how it holds up. Not too steady. Let's see. And crap. Oh well, let's try again. Okay, put a little bit of extra blocking on there, help stabilize it a little bit better. Put the beam on. Okay, not so bad. And take my level out. All right, I have a flat back to the beam on a very uneven surface. Oh, there we go. Level across both sides, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, and I like it. I think that turn looking pretty good right now. Make sure it's level both sides of the beam, equidistant from side to side, and let's try it again. And like they say, second time or third time's a charm. I lost count of how many tries it actually was, but now the mantles are up. We'll take them off and we'll start making them look gold. First things first, I need to get the green paint off of it. Paint is used to seal the ends to keep them from splitting, so we'll get that off. And then I'll start addressing the corners. Because the outside faces were not perfectly even and level and flat and all that, the edges did not match up. A quick and easy way to clean up miter joints, especially if the joints are a little bit tighter than what these were, is you can take a tool such as a screwdriver or file or something, and you can almost fold or roll the edges into each other, cleaning the edges up and making them look like complete miter joints. It worked in this case because the rounded corners gave it a nice rough edge. And, you know, if you're a woodworker, you end up with a lot of stain that just kind of sits there and you don't ever get to use. So for this project, I just started, I grabbed a couple random cans to give it a nice base coat. I believe this was a little bit of driftwood and Ipswich pine, which, you know, gave it a nice light base. I was actually a big fan of this color. It came out really good. It had a nice warm tone to it, and you know, put the stain on. I didn't do any staining yet, so this just soaked it up, and I took in a lot of stain. It soaked it up very quickly, very much so, and so we soak them up, let them sit, and now that I have them out, I clean it off. And this was a little bit of a mistake at first, I thought. I used ebony to try to darken it. I had used a screwdriver and some tools to put some dings and dents and scratches in it, and I was hoping that I'd be able to rub the ebony in and keep it in all the dents and off of the faces, but the opposite actually happened, where the ebony stayed on the face and didn't soak into the dings and the dents. So the beams took on a bit of a charred, really aged look to them, which As I worked on it, I took the nylon brush to work through it again, try to get some of that black off and a little bit of sanding and all that. And actually, I started to really like them. And after letting the stains sit, we put them up. The boss approved and promptly decorated for Christmas. But who can blame her? The year we've had, more power to her. Let's have Christmas. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you later.